talk about those trades. We're going to break down how the Habs did at the deadline, and we are welcoming our very first special guest to the show today. You're not going to want to miss it. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Habs Hockey Report right here at All Habs Hockey Magazine, part of Rocket Sports Media and the Hockey Podcast Network. So welcome to all of you. I am your host for the show, Amy Johnson. I'm also the lead correspondent and managing editor at ahlreport.com. We're so glad that you are here today. I would invite you, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We don't ever want you to miss an episode every Thursday when we publish. And at any time, if you'd like to visit the link in the description below this video, the DraftKings link, and use the promo code you see in the corner, THPN. Great incentives for new users at DraftKings, so be sure to do that. We've got a packed show for you today. We're going to talk about the trade deadline with the Habs, get you up to speed with the Laval Rocket. We've got some great responses to last week's feedback forum question. We've got a new one for you for this week. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. And we are welcoming our very first special guest to the show today. We've got a Laval Rocket player and a top prospect for the Montreal Canadiens joining the show in the second segment today. So hold on to your seats. You're not going to want to miss this one. So for this week's feedback forum question, let's give you a sneak peek of that one right away. We're calling this Grade the Trades. What if you had to give Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes an overall grade for the totality of everything that they did leading up to the trade deadline, what would your grade be? We're going to talk about that in the third segment, but feel free now, start thinking about it, leave a comment below, let us know what would your grade be and why. Okay, so here it's Habs happenings time, and of course, the thing that was happening with the Montreal Canadiens this week was, the trade deadline. We know leading up to the trade deadline, Tyler Toffoli had been traded away. We talked about Ben Sherratt being traded away last week on the show. Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, it came down to the wire a bit. It was starting to be like, okay, we're watching the clock here. What's going to happen? There's a lot of moves that you could be making, but sure enough, they started to come through as we reached 3 o'clock. I'm going to just briefly touch on them, but invite you to actually listen to our 2 podcasts at Rocket Sports. We are going deep dive, in-depth analysis on all of the trades, and you'll get a lot of information there. In fact, the Press Zone podcast, debriefing the Habs trade deadline moves is already out. Go to thepresszone.fm, check that out and subscribe. The Canadiens Connection version of it will come out on Saturday, and that will be just top to bottom trade deadline talk. So be sure that you check those out. But for our purposes here, there were 3 big trades that happened on trade deadline day. Brett Kulak getting moved out, exchanged to the Edmonton Oilers, and in return, they acquired defenseman William Lagesson, a conditional second-round pick in 2022, and a 7th-round pick in 2024. Also, we saw Andrew Hammond get traded away. We know Andrew Hammond came in kind of as a Band-Aid to help fill the gaps while there were so many goaltending injuries. Now that goaltenders are coming back from injury, Andrew Hammond's services weren't needed anymore. And, well, Kent Hughes did him a solid and said, okay, I'll trade you to somewhere where you might still get some more NHL opportunities. And so they did that, trading him to the New Jersey Devils in exchange for forward Nate Schnarr. We're going to talk about this a little more in the second segment because Nate Schnarr, of course, currently an AHL level forward, but a good one at that. Finally, of course, the blockbuster trade of the day was none other than Artturi Lehkonen being moved. And I'm so happy for Artturi Lehkonen in this move. You know, for so many years, Artturi Lehkonen was undervalued, underappreciated for the Montreal Canadiens. He got buried in the lineup a lot of times with not the best line mates. It was difficult for him to really be able to show all of the tools in his toolbox. And recently, in the last few months, he's kind of had the shackles taken off a little bit, and he's been able to really grow and play with confidence and show what a tremendous forward he could be. So I'm pleased for Artturi Lehkonen that he's now going to get an opportunity to go on a cup run for the second year in a row with the Colorado Avalanche. I think he's going to fit wonderfully in that lineup. In return for Artturi Lehkonen, of course, the Canadiens acquire another second-round pick. This one is in 2024, and defenseman Justin Barron. That is a former first-round pick. He is a top prospect. He now catapults right up towards the top of the defensive prospects for the Montreal Canadiens. In fact, Montreal, instead of having him report to the AHL, where he has played most of this season, instead they're having him come right to Montreal, and they're going to test him out and see how he does playing at the NHL level. So I think it's a pretty exciting trade deadline. There were certainly, I agree with every move that they made, Hammond, Kulak, and Lehkonen, and I like the return that they got. All right. Well, on Rocket Booster today, boy, this is the segment you don't want to miss. I'm just going to quickly go through some of the highlights for the Laval Rocket because we don't want to make our guest wait. We have got a great interview coming up in just a couple of minutes for you. So the highlights, of course, as far as news is that Cedric Paquette joined the Rocket last week after clearing waivers from the Montreal Canadiens. And quite frankly, he has looked confident. He looks like he's having fun playing hockey again. He's contributing to the Laval Rocket. And when I spoke to JF Uhl last week, shortly after Paquette had joined the team, I asked him, how well has he acclimated to joining the AHL team after being put on waivers? And Coach Uhl had some pretty positive things to say.
Lucky I coached him in juniors, and we have a pretty good relation. And we had a few talks this week about hockey and life in general and stuff like that. And he seems like he's in pretty good frame of mind. I think he wants to be part of our team. He wants to be part of the success of the team, and we're going to try to use him in the best way that he can help the team. It might be at center, win faceoffs. It could be on the power play or PK, but I think he could be an important part of our group.
The feel-good news didn't stop there. The Laval Rocket won both of their games last weekend, and in one of them, Joel Teasdale put up his very first career AHL hat trick. You see him right there. A great night for Joel Teasdale. He actually had a 4-point night. He also had an assist on the night. So a really tremendous weekend for the Laval Rocket. It put them up into second place in the North Division standings. Sami Niku is currently on family leave. He left to go back to Winnipeg for the birth of his baby. So we want to say congratulations to the Niku family. Well, of course, we've promised this over the weeks here at Habs Hockey Report that we were going to have some exclusive one-on-one interviews with players and prospects throughout the Canadiens organization. And I am so happy to be joined today and welcome to the show for the first time, Jesse Ylönen, forward and Habs prospect, currently playing with the Laval Rocket. You are our very first guest here on Habs Hockey Report. Jesse, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Now we've had a great time watching you over the past couple of seasons as you've acclimated to hockey in North America. This season in particular, of course, with COVID and the way things have gone for Montreal and injuries and so on and so forth, it's not been an easy season in the organization, but I think it's safe to say for you guys in Laval, it's been a pretty exciting season with how things have developed. Is that correct?
Yes, it's been really exciting season, and it's just getting more exciting as the season goes on. So it's not many games left, and all the games are very important. So as a player, you enjoy playing those games the most.
Is there a little bit of a sense of relief now that the trade deadline has passed, that now that distraction is kind of out of the way?
Well, yeah, I haven't been thinking about it too much, but now we just can focus on the playing and just focus on the rest of the season. So in that way, yeah, a little bit.
You actually had a new line mate for a little bit last night, Nate Shar, coming over to Laval during the trade deadline. What was your first experience with him like last night?
I think he did very well, and he's a good player and very nice guy, and I believe he's going to be a very important player for us going to the end of the season.
Terrific. We're going to talk a little bit about that playoff push here in just a little bit, but first I kind of want to go back sort of to the beginning. You of course hail from Finland. However, Finland by way of Scottsdale, Arizona, correct? You were actually born here in the States, in Scottsdale, while your dad, Juha, was playing for the Phoenix Coyotes, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So before he went back to Finland and was still in the NHL, you spent a couple of years while he was with the Coyotes, and then he also was with Tampa Bay for a little while. I know that was really early on in your first few years. Do you have any memory of that time, either in Phoenix or in Tampa, or just being around the NHL rinks with your dad?
No, unfortunately, I don't remember anything, but I've seen like a lot of pictures and like, but I don't remember it, but it must have been nice growing up in that kind of play.
Well, his hockey playing certainly didn't stop when he left the NHL. He had a storied career in the NHL, an Olympic bronze medalist for Team Finland, a lot of accomplishments for your dad. What was it? What were your earliest memories of hockey in general? I would imagine it's back in Finland, but were your earliest memories of watching him play, or was it more when you started skating and just hockey memories of yourself getting involved?
I think it was like watching his games, and then of course I wanted to go skating too, and that's how it started. And I was always watching his games, and then like playing at home with some like mini stick, and even before I skated yet. So it's been always a big part of my life.
Now, was it kind of destined that you would get into skates at the earliest possible moment? Did you start skating as soon as you could?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't even remember like the first times I was skating, but my mom said that like I just watched those games and I wanted to go skating, and I think I was around 2 years old when I skated for the first time. So it's hard to remember.
But you must have done pretty well. Do you remember a point growing up as you started to progress through hockey? Do you remember a point where you or maybe even your dad or your coaches started to kind of recognize that you might be following in dad's footsteps, in that you had something really special with your skill and talent and could really make a career out of it?
Well, I don't know. Like when I was younger, I always just loved playing, and I didn't really. Of course, it was a dream, but I didn't really think about being a pro player. But then, as I grew older and started to seeing that I'm like compared to other kids of the same age, I was like decent player. So then I just started putting a lot of effort, and like I started doing even like off-ice stuff as pretty young age. So it's been always like pretty much the biggest and only passion that I had when I was growing up. And yeah,
how much of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's hard to say like one moment when it happened, like, but
yeah. How much of an influence and how much did you, I don't like to use the word idolize, but how much did you really look up to your dad and want to be like him, whether it was on the ice or the way he carried himself off the ice as a teammate and things like that?
Well, I think it's been always like I think for every kid, like their parents are the people who they look up to. Like especially with boys, it's usually the dad. And just since I started playing hockey, like he's been always helping me, and I of course took all his advice because I know what he's done and how long he's been playing hockey and how much he knows about it. So I think it's been like it could be that I would still play hockey even if my dad didn't play, but I don't know. I think that's the biggest reason why I started playing, and why I made it to pro, because I had someone who can give me like good advice, and so as a pretty young age I always like knew what I have to do, like to practice well, eat healthy food and that kind of stuff.
Aside from your dad, were there specific players growing up that you really looked up to? Did you have a favorite Finnish player? Did you have a favorite player in the NHL that you really just enjoyed to watch?
Yeah, I think as young age it was always the players who played in the like national team of Finland, like Saku Koivu and Teemu Selänne and Jere Lehtinen. I think they were like the idols for me, and I wanted to be like them.
We hear so often how for Canadians, hockey is in their blood from the time that they're born. Can you describe what hockey means to Finns and to the people of Finland?
It means a lot. Like it's been the number one sports there for a long time, and just people have so much passion for hockey there. It's very, very nice to see, and it's a good environment to become a hockey player, and it's a good, like a lot of competition from a very, very young age. Like there's always a lot of good players, and it's not easy to even make the Finnish league. So I think it's very good environment for young hockey players.
Well, that's just it. It's not easy to make the Finnish league, but you played in the Liga for a little while before coming to North America. How much do you think that experience, getting to play with the Pelicans, prepared you for the eventual transition you would make to North American hockey?
I think it prepared me very well. I actually, before those seasons, I played 1 year in Finnish second division. So before I signed here, I already played like 3 years, like not junior, but in the like pro league. So I think that really helped me a lot. Like it's always different playing in juniors than playing with professional players. So yeah.
Now, I think it's safe to say those of us who cover the game all agreed that your transition, there's always that adaptation period for European players coming over, getting used to the smaller North American ice. But I think it's safe to say that you seem to do that almost seamlessly. I don't want to say effortlessly because I know it was a lot of hard work, but you really seem to transition well. How both on the ice, playing on a smaller rink, playing in the AHL, but also off the ice, just adjusting to life in North America. How did that whole transition go for you? Was it easier, more difficult than you thought it would be? Was there anything that surprised you about it?
Not really. Like I pretty much like I've watched a lot of like not the AHL games, but like NHL games before I signed here, and kind of trying to get the idea how the game is with the smaller rink. And yeah, I think it's not easy to play here, but I think I've done like as good as I can, and I still know that there's a lot of things to improve. But like I think it's been pretty easy for me. Like I've had both last season and this season like really good coaches and good teammates, and that's like one of the biggest things that make it easier for players who are coming from Europe or juniors. I'm really grateful for that, and it's also like the schedule here is a lot tougher than in Europe. That's been something that like you really need to get like prepare yourself even like better than in Europe. Like take care of your body and eat good food and prepare yourself for every practice and every game, because there's schedule is tough. There's so many games and a lot of long bus rides. So yeah, it's different, but I like it.
You had your first NHL call-up last year, and then this year you've had a little bit more experience up with Montreal, managed to also pot your first NHL goal. Those two events in your life had to have been just an indescribable moment for both yourself, but also your family as well.
Yeah, of course. Like it's the dream to play in that league, and like first games are one step closer to playing there all the time. And yeah, and obviously my family was happy for me. They've seen like how much effort I've done to get better at hockey. So yeah, they were happy, but still a lot of things to improve to play there better.
The one thing that we respect about you so much, you are incredibly humble and modest and always looking to improve, and we really appreciate that a lot. There was an article on the Canadiens website after you scored your first goal that your dad had joked that it was certainly a conversation that you scored your first NHL goal a lot quicker than he did. Was that kind of fun for both you and him to compare notes on that?
No, I didn't even know about it before I but no, not really. He was just happy for me, and he still have way more games in NHL, so it's I can chirp him about that.
There you go. That's true. You mentioned having good coaches is really vital and has really helped you. You have aside from Marco Marciano, you have a slate of new coaches this season with JF, with Kelly Buchberger, with Martin Laperriere. Can you describe how much this new coaching staff has helped you in aspects of your game, both on and off the ice?
Yeah, they've been helping me a lot, and we watched a lot of videos, and they tell me like what areas I should improve, and I agree with them. I agree with them with everything, and it's a good environment to like to get better, because I want to obviously get better, and they have the passion to help me getting better, and yeah, it's been a good very good coaching staff this year.
That's very good to hear. Next question is kind of two-part. What parts of your game are you pleased to see have improved this year, and what are the parts that you think are really essential to help you really make that jump to the NHL?
I think it's just it's hard to talk about my own game, but it's just like improving like everything, and keeping the good things in my game that I have, and improving those two, but just becoming more like complete player that coaches want to put on the ice, whether we're like leading the game or down one or two goals. So that's the thing that I'm focusing and trying to get better each day.
You also mentioned that having great teammates in this environment in the AHL has been crucial. Who do you connect with the most in the locker room?
Like I think all the guys pretty much. It's hard to pick one, but but yeah, pretty much all the guys been nice to me, and yeah, that's it.
Now, yeah, we can't single anyone out. However, yeah. Is there certainly a pool within the organization with all the Finns? Did you have a connection at all with Arturi Lehkonen, or do you with Joel Armia, or any of the Finns in the organization? Is that kind of an automatic, okay, well, we at least have that in common kind of thing?
Well, yes, obviously. when I got called up, it was easy to go there because there was Finnish guys who helped me and speak the same language, and it's been helping me a lot, and all the Finnish guys are very, very good guys and good players, obviously.
Couple of fun questions for you, kind of a get to know you a little bit. You mentioned how one of the big important things that you both learned from your dad and of course now with the schedule that you go through in the AHL, taking care of your body and eating right. Is there a Finnish dish that you really miss that you can't get unless you go home?
Not really.
No?
No.
All right.
In Finland as here, so it's easy.
It's easy. All right. Well, then let me ask you this: what's a typical pregame meal for Jesse Ylönen?
Now it's rice and chicken. I used to eat always like rice and meat sauce, but now I changed it to rice and chicken before every game.
Do you ever indulge, say, after the game and treat yourself to something that you normally wouldn't have, or are you pretty strict with your diet?
Well, I'm not that strict about it, but it's like whatever your body needs. Sometimes it's good to eat some junk food if you have a lot of games in a row and you don't play next day. And yeah, that's pretty much. I'm not too strict about it. I try to eat good and clean, but it's not. I don't think about it too much.
Give yourself permission to have a little fun once in a while. One other kind of fun question for you: do you have a specific song, artist, type of music that really kind of gets you focused on game day? That you've got playing in your ears on game day?
Well, I like to listen to Metallica pretty much, and
nice.
Iron Maiden. Those are my two favorites.
Excellent. That'll get you ready for a game. Let me kind of just as we sort of wrap up here. Now, Laval is in second place, but oh my goodness, the standings for second to sixth place in the North Division. Some teams are even tied. It is so close. Are you surprised at how tight this race to the postseason is in the North Division?
Yeah, I'm surprised, but I think it's very, very exciting at the same time. Like from now on, well, obviously always games are important, but from now on until playoffs, like every game is important. And as a player, like you love the challenges, and you really wanna be at your best in those games. So it's been surprising, but I think it's great.
How exciting is it for you, both you personally and the locker room in general, to know that you've really got a very good chance of making the postseason here within the next 4 to 5 weeks of the stretch run?
Well, it's very, very exciting. Obviously, we know we have a good team and a lot of good players and a lot of potential to even win the whole thing. So it's very, very exciting. And because last year we didn't have playoffs, even we were doing good, so it even makes it more exciting for this year.
Excellent. Well, I agree. I think you guys could go on a pretty deep run once you make the postseason. It's been exciting to watch the Laval Rocket. Yes, it's been very exciting to watch you play for the last 2 years. You're a dynamic player. I know all of us here at Rocket Sports are rooting for you and just wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
What a tremendous conversation with Jesse Ylönen. Just a joy to talk to. This player has so much upside. I think there's a lot in store for this young man as he transitions his game to the NHL. I would like to see him get a look up in the NHL before the end of the season, just to see how things are progressing with his development. But just a great conversation. Thanks so much again to Jesse for taking some time today on a non-game day. We'll have more great one-on-one interviews like that in the weeks to come here at Habs Hockey Report, so you don't want to miss a minute of it. Well, it's the fan interaction portion of Habs Hockey Report. Welcome to the Habs Fan Hub. The first thing that I want to do, of course, is get to that feedback forum question that we talked about in the first segment, grading the trades. Be sure to leave a comment below. Let me know, how would you grade the Montreal Canadiens overall in their performance in the trade deadline? Do you give them an A? Do you give them an F? Do you give them something in between? And why? Tell me if you were pleased or not pleased. Give us the grade. Tell us why you feel that way. For me, I would give the Montreal Canadiens probably a B+, bordering on an A-, maybe an A-. Maybe we'll say an A-. Moving the contracts that they moved were all good. Toffoli, Sherratt, Hammond, Lehkonen, Kulak. I like all of those. I like the return that they got for all of them. The reason they're not getting a solid A or an A+ for me, there's a lot left for Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton to do now in the offseason. There's a lot of bad contracts still on the roster, and I'd like to see them, some of them move. Petrie probably will, but that needs to get done. Jonathan Drouin is another one that should be moved, as well as probably Yoel Armia, and possibly, Josh Anderson or Brendan Gallagher could be in that mix as well, even though those are fan favorite players who I know fans wouldn't want to see leave the organization, but they're not the cap hit for those contracts versus how they're performing just doesn't quite balance out. Now let's take a look. Of course, last week I asked you who you thought was going to move before the trade deadline, and we did have a couple of answers to this question. We had Michael Spinella say that my prediction is that Lehkonen, one of the Pitlicks, and Kulak are traded before the deadline. So congratulations, Michael. You were 2 for 3. So good job on that. Mike Raschel says I think Leckie, Kulak, Paquette, Perreault, Petrie, and Allen will be moved, but adds the last two, meaning Petrie and Allen, will have to be big overspends by the buying team. I also have an email from a loyal All Habs and Rocket Sports listener and viewer, Dino. He says, as far as the trade deadline, he thought, maybe Jeff Petrie, Yoel Armia, or Jojo Drouin. But he says in all caps, gotta keep Lehkonen, cannot let him go. Well, I'm so sorry, Dino, that Lehkonen did leave the organization. I agree, he's a tremendous guy, great player, and now he'll get a good opportunity elsewhere. And as we just said, Petrie, Drouin, Armia, not gone yet, but those are definitely probably on the to-do list for Kent Hughes in the summer. And remember, if you have a question about the Montreal Canadiens, the Laval Rocket, hockey, prospects, just drop us a comment down below and we'll add it to the All Habs mailbag and we'll be sure to answer it on a future show. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Habs Hockey Report right here at All Habs Hockey Magazine and the Hockey Podcast Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Again, my name is Amy Johnson. I'll be with you every Thursday here at Habs Hockey Report. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. Hit that subscribe button at the bottom, hit the notification bell, and we will be happy to meet you back here every Thursday at Habs Hockey Report right here on Rocket Sports Media. See you then.